What's up, guys? It's a rainy day here in Chicago, so I'm going to do a quick walkthrough on how to change the oil on a Kawasaki Z125. All you need is some 10W40 oil. I use Kawasaki semi-synthetic, an oil filter, and a couple basic hand tools. Filter I use is a K&N, part number KN112. They're pretty cheap. You can get them all over the place. Tool-wise, I use a T-handle here. This is a 5mm. This is used to take the shroud off on the bike here in the front. There's 4 bolts, 2 on each side. Come off real easy. And you'll also need, obviously, a wrench, 17mm socket for the drain plug, which is located on the bottom here. You'll also need an 8mm socket, which is to take the front cover off that has the oil filter behind it. Alright, so first thing you got to do is take these fairing bolts out. There's 2 on each side using that 5mm. I use a T-handle, but you can use a variety of different tools. Once you remove them, that'll gain you access to the bottom there. Next, taking a drain pan, stick it below the bike. This is obviously to collect the oil. Now, using your 17mm socket, you're going to go underneath on that bolt and remove it. Once that bolt's out, obviously have your drain pan directly below, as the oil is going to leak out. I also recommend removing your dipstick to allow it to vent, and it'll drain much quicker. It doesn't take too long here, maybe like 15-20 seconds, because it's only 1 quart of oil. Once it finishes draining, obviously reinstall your drain plug. The correct torque for this is 22 foot-pounds, so make sure you use the right tool for that. Alright, now we're able to move forward to replacing the engine oil filter. On the front of the engine, there's this front cover that's got 2 8mm bolts holding it in. Once you remove those bolts, you'll be able to gain access to the filter and swap it out. Before taking this off, I would make sure that your drain pan is below, because even though you drained your engine oil, there's still some that's going to be in this cavity here. Alright, now that we got that cover off, the engine oil filter is exposed. In order to remove it, all you got to do is simply pull it off of the little fitting that's on there. It's a rubber grommet that holds it on and keeps it secure to the motor. Behind the cover, there's a spring. Make sure that that's still on there, as it puts pressure on the oil filter. You can see the old one versus the new one. Obviously, it's a little bit dirty and good time to replace. To install the new filter is pretty easy. All you got to do is make sure that you put the grommet side in on the engine. Once it's on there, it should be able to hold place and stay where it's at. Next, reinstall that cover using the 2 8mm bolts. This is an O-ring gasket on here, so I usually get it good and tight and make sure not to over tighten it. Finally, give it a quick wipe down just to make the job clean. Alright, for the next step, all we got to do is take that oil that we have and pour it into the engine. According to Kawasaki, 1 quart is the capacity for filling it completely. In order to check it, there's 3 different marking holes on the dipstick. In order to check it on the dipstick, you need to have it fully secured in, as I'm doing right now, and then tilt the bike so that it's straight vertical up and down. Alright, so now we're at a point where we can start the engine and make sure that there's no leaks and everything seems okay with the bike. So I usually just start it up for a minute or so, let the fluid circulate, and then recheck the oil level just to make sure that everything's still okay. Alright, so now that it's warmed up a little bit, as I mentioned earlier, I stand the bike up vertically and pull the dipstick and make sure that the oil level is where it needs to be. Once you know your oil level is good, you're free to put your front fairing back on using those 4 bolts that you previously removed. Like I said in the beginning, this is a really simple task that only needs very minor tools, so hopefully this video will help walk you through and be able to do this at the garage instead of having to bring it to a shop and have somebody else do it. I change my oil about once a year on the bike, and so far I've been enjoying it. thanks for watching. If anybody's got any questions, make sure to ask in the comments below. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. Thanks.